Hey there, I'm Adrienne, your go-to guide on this empowering journey to self-love and authenticity. I've transformed my own struggles into strengths, and now I help others navigate their path to their inner knowing and create personal fulfillment. On this show, we're not shying away from tough conversations. We're diving headfirst into topics like self-worth, overcoming limiting beliefs, challenging societal norms, and creating a life that's not just successful, but truly fulfilling. We're all about blending heartfelt, soul-searching chats with practical, actionable strategies. Think of this podcast as your trusty compass on the path to your most authentic life, mixed with a cozy fireside chat with a dear friend. Ready to uncover your true self and lead a life that's in sync with your deepest desires? You're in the right place, friend. Welcome to the Live Your Truth, Love Your Life podcast. Hey there, friends. It's Adrienne here, and welcome to another episode of the Live Your Truth, Love Your Life podcast. Today, we're going to dig into a topic that's close to my heart, creativity. But we're not just talking about creativity in the traditional sense. No, we're taking it a step further, peeling back a layer, if you will. Today's focus is about making stuff that feels good to make. Kind of intriguing, right? So let's start by acknowledging one simple yet profound truth. Creativity is not exclusive to artists, writers, or musicians. It's a fundamental part of being human. It's our innate ability to produce something new, unique, and often expressive of our deepest self. Creativity in its purest sense is about expressing your truth and living your life in alignment with that truth. There's a connection between creativity and flow state. I'm sure you've heard the term flow state, but we'll take a second to unravel it. You've probably heard it before in the context of athletes. They call it being in the zone. Artists might describe it as being lost in their work. This concept of being in the zone or in a flow state describes that state of complete immersion in an activity where time seems to dissolve and your actions, thoughts, and movements flow seamlessly and effortlessly. In this state, we feel our best and we perform our best. When you can get into that state, the worries of the world melt away. You're fully engaged in the activity. You're completely immersed in it. It's as if the outside world doesn't exist. When we talk about making stuff that feels good to make, we're talking about aligning your creativity with your authentic self. It's about creating things that bring joy to you, bring you satisfaction, and maybe even a sense of peace or fulfillment. It's about using your unique abilities to produce something that resonates with your core values and desires. I wanted to make the shift from creativity to talking about making things that feel good to make because there's so much pressure around the word creativity sometimes. It becomes about making something original, a brilliant piece of work. I don't want that to be what this is about. So, what's so special about creating things that feel good to make? Why is it worth exploring this concept? Well, when we create things that genuinely excite us, we tap into a deep source of motivation, inspiration, and personal fulfillment. This kind of intrinsic motivation can drive us forward, propel us to new heights, and enable us to overcome challenges that may otherwise feel insurmountable. Whether you're painting, sculpting, writing, cooking, or even gardening, the process of creating something from nothing is a beautiful dance between the mind and the body. It requires focus, problem solving, decision making, and physical engagement. This combination is the perfect recipe for stimulating flow, making creativity a pathway for us to tap into this extraordinary state of consciousness. Not only does this type of creativity lead to personal satisfaction, but it also produces something that is often deeply meaningful, both for us and others who engage with our creations, should we decide to share them. The benefits of making things that feel good to make are vast and deeply impactful. When we're in a flow state, we're fully engaged in the present moment, which acts as a natural antidote to stress and anxiety that often comes from ruminating over the past or worrying about the future. Also, achieving flow can boost our mood thanks to the release of feel good neurotransmitters like dopamine and endorphins. It also gives us a sense of accomplishment, helping to build self esteem and confidence. Regularly going into a state of flow can lead to an increase in overall life satisfaction. It brings us into direct contact with the process of discovery and the joy of personal expression, providing us with a deeper sense of purpose and meaning. It sounds pretty powerful, right? So if this concept is so wonderful, why aren't we all doing it? Well, like many things in life, it's easier said than done. There's a lot of different barriers that can hold us back from truly embracing the joy of making stuff that feels good. This might include fear of judgment, self doubt, perfectionism, or simply not knowing where to start. But don't worry, none of these barriers are insurmountable. I'm going to share some strategies to help you overcome these blocks and embrace the joy of creating what truly feels good to you. So, how do we put this into practice? How do we transition from understanding the concept to actually living it? So, I have 6 steps here that'll help you walk through this practice. The first step is to identify what feels good to create. What activities make your heart sing? When do you lose track of time because you're so absorbed in what you're doing? I want you to make a list and start to notice any patterns or themes. Maybe it's cooking, painting, gardening, taking pictures of your pets. For me, I enjoy painting, I enjoy photography, writing. I also enjoy building things with Legos. Might sound a little bit weird. It's a little bit more, I guess, play than you would think is creativity. But that act of building something with Legos, I really enjoy that. That's something that I do where I kind of lose track of time. So think about these things that you enjoy creating. Maybe think back to when you were a kid. I also loved making Christmas decorations and Christmas ornaments. And just think about those things. That'll give you some clues of maybe some activities you want to try and pick up again. The second thing is give yourself permission. A lot of us hold back from creating what we truly want because of fear or self doubt. But it's time to just give yourself permission to create what feels good. Remind yourself that your worth is not determined by others' opinions or perceptions. You deserve to create what feels good for you. The third thing is create a safe space. By this, I mean it's important to have a space where you feel comfortable expressing your creativity. It could be a physical space, like a dedicated room, a corner of your house, a particular chair that you sit in, or it could be a mental space, like scheduling uninterrupted time for creative activities. So you know on this date and on this time, you're going to be creating. This idea of a safe space is more about minimizing distractions so that you can focus solely on the task at hand. So I'm not saying you need to redecorate a room in your house so that you have a place to be creative. I'm saying figure out where you're comfortable doing this type of work and set aside some time to do it. The fourth thing is focus on the process, not the outcome. And we could apply this to just about anything in life. By this, I mean, instead of focusing or worrying about creating something that's perfect or useful, allow yourself to get lost in the process of creation. Be fully present in the moment. Engage your senses and pay attention to every detail of what you're doing. You want to start small and grow. Don't feel pressured to create a masterpiece right off the bat. Start with small, manageable projects that bring you joy. Gradually take on bigger, more challenging projects as your confidence grows. The fifth thing is regularly engage in your chosen activity. I'm not saying you have to stick to one thing, but if you haven't really been creating in a long time, I encourage you to pick something that you're going to choose to do again. Or if you've even never done it before, pick something to try out and engage in it regularly for a little bit. The more you engage in a particular activity, the more familiar it becomes, increasing the chances of getting into flow. The sixth thing, the last thing, is celebrate your progress. You got to remember to celebrate your progress along the way. Celebrating your achievements, no matter how small, can boost your confidence, motivate you to keep going, and reinforce the joy of making what feels good. So there you have it, friends. An introduction to the liberating concept of making stuff that feels good to make. I hope this episode has inspired you to embrace this approach to creativity, shed any self-imposed constraints, and start making something that truly resonates with your authentic self. Remember, the goal here is not to impress others or to meet external standards of success. The goal is to make stuff that aligns with your values, taps into your passion, and most importantly, feels good to make. So go out there and create with joy, authenticity, and love for the process itself. I cannot wait to see what you create. That's it for today's episode, my friends. Thanks so much for joining me on the Live Your Truth, Love Your Life podcast. To get even more out of today's conversation, don't forget to swing by the show notes and download your freebie. Want to keep the conversation going? I'd love to hear what spoke to you most today. Head on over to my Instagram at Live Your Truth, Love Your Life, and drop me a comment. I'm always excited to connect and learn more about you. Remember, the journey towards living your truth and loving your life is a rewarding one. New episodes are dropping each Monday and Thursday, and I can't wait for next time. Until then, have a fantastic week.